I'm going to turn it over to Don Thompson. He's the Business Vice President of Florida and Ohio. He's a $100,000 ring earner, a Gold Executive Director with LegalShield, and a Millionaire Club member. So we get the opportunity for him to share with us what he did in Orlando, Florida. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Don Thompson.
Well, thank you, Darcy, and great to hear John on the line this morning. I have so much respect for you and your family and the entire Shield Nation organization. There's a lot of great leaders all across North America, so really excited to be on the call with everyone this morning. And my point of the presentation today is just to really help everyone understand, as Darcy was just talking about, the tremendous income potential in the B2B compensation plan. Now, really, you can apply these principles to every area of LegalShield, no matter what division that you're working in. But this morning, we're going to specifically talk about the B2B compensation plan as it relates to group marketing, small business marketing, team development, agency development, and how you can really build a tremendous income. And we're going to talk about 4 areas this morning that can help you understand exactly how the compensation plan works. There's 4 ways that you can earn income with your LegalShield business. Of course, you can earn income through personal sales volume by going out and just sharing the membership, whether it's in a group setting with a company or on an individual basis. You can also build an organization, build a sales team. I like to think of it like an agency where you can have associates all over North America that are writing business. And one of the things I focused on is building that in the B2B space, so I could have a lot of agents on my team that are writing business in groups and small businesses. Just a tremendous opportunity there. We're also going to talk about residual income. I think it's really important to understand what you're working for long term in your business. And then we're also going to touch on some incentives and how those incentives can certainly add up with all of the different incentives that LegalShield has. So to get started, let's talk about your personal sales volume. And of course, looking at the numbers last month company-wide, it looks like a lot of associates are certainly taking advantage of the personal sales volume with your LegalShield business. And for the sake of the presentation today, we're going to be talking about a group membership that's $33.90 a month. And in most states, that's going to be the family legal plan, which is $18.95 a month as a group, and then adding the family ID Shield to that as well, which you get a discount in that group setting. So in most states, $33.90 is a very common enrollment membership when you're out there talking in the group setting. You can see here, we kind of put up the compensation plan, showed you what you need to do to advance to each of those levels through personal sales volume. And again, the orange numbers you see there from associate to director, those are permanent level advancements. And it just tells you that when you get to that level of personal sales that you're going to advance. So 7, 15, 50, 100, that's cumulative. That's not per month, that's cumulative. The blue numbers, senior director and executive director, those are going to be monthly numbers. And so let's talk about in terms of senior director, just to kind of give you an example. And at senior director, that's an associate that is doing about 25 personal sales a month. You can see that the percentage is 48%, which comes out on that $33.90 plan to be $195.41. So just using that as an example, and I lost the screen. Oh, there it is. Okay. So using that as an example, I put together some numbers based on 300, 400, 500, 1,000. I mean, you pick your number. You take 400, for example. If you're serious in the B2B space and you're out there and you're talking in the group arena, 400 personal memberships is certainly within your reach. That's what we call in the B2B arena. That's what we call special forces. And so 400 memberships this year put you in special forces. If you were doing 400 of those plans at senior director, that would be about $78,000 in a year. If you wrote 500 memberships, it's approximately $97,000, about $100,000 a year. If you're writing 1,000 memberships a year, which we have several associates in LegalShield that have already surpassed that for this year, that's over $200,000 at see $195,000 there. So the point in this is just talking about that you can certainly generate a lot of income with LegalShield going out there and just marketing those memberships, especially in the B2B space. So that's the first thing we want to talk to you about is just your personal production. The second area that we want to make sure you understand is team overrides. And when it comes to overrides, again, I think of it like agency development, building an organization. I like to think of it in terms of real estate. Would you rather be a real estate agent selling and listing houses, or would you rather be the broker that's got 150 agents working in their offices selling and listing houses and getting an override on each one of those? Most of us would rather put ourselves in that broker position right away. Same thing here. If you look at most insurance agencies, they're set up in a broker agent setup. With LegalShield, you have the ability to earn overrides on building an organization. And so in this particular example, I just was giving the example of someone at the senior director level going out and marketing memberships. Let's say you have someone at senior director level in your organization that's doing that, and you're at the executive director level. So your override would be the difference between your level at the executive director level and where the membership was sold, which would have been at the senior director level. Now, I know a lot of you, and I know one of the things I like to focus on as well is recruiting into the broker and general agency space, because there's a lot of agents out there that already have an established book of business, and when somebody starts as a general agent, they actually start at the senior director level. So kind of using that assumption, I put together a little model here to help you understand that if you're at the executive director level and you have someone on your team at that senior director level, could be a general agent that has a book of business that you're helping. Let's say you had 5 of those teams, and each of those teams is just doing 20 sales a month. That's 100 memberships going through your organization each month. Again, the override on that $33.90 plan would be $42. So 100 team memberships at $42 is $4,200 a month. Now, I know there's a lot of organizations that do a lot more than 100 team memberships. What if you built an agency that was doing 500 team memberships a month? In that particular situation, now you're talking, in this particular example, $20,000 a month in income in overrides. So just helping you understand that there obviously is a lot of money in personal production. There's a lot of money in override production and building an organization. At the end, we'll put it together to help you understand how you can really maximize the entire compensation plan by working in all areas, but certainly it's why you want to focus on both areas. When I go into a group, of course, I'm always focused on production within that group, but then I'm also looking around to say who else, that's just like me, a benefit professional in that group would be a great candidate for me to talk to about the opportunity to add LegalShield to their portfolio, because I want to also make sure I'm maximizing the override potential and looking at their book of business that they have with all of their other clients. The next way we get paid is the residual income, and to me this is probably one of the most exciting ways that we get paid. I started in LegalShield in March of 1996, so this is my 20th year with LegalShield. And when I started with LegalShield, I remember I was about a year into the business. I was driving around and listening to an audio cassette tape, if you remember what those are, and there was a top business builder with LegalShield talking about residual income. And he was talking about, what if you could put 1,000 active members on the books? If you could put 1,000 active members on the books, here's what your residual income would be. And I remember being blown away by that number, because I thought to myself, I could do that. What if I put together, 100 memberships a year, personal memberships for 10 years, that stayed on the books, that were active. And of course, it actually happened a lot sooner than that. And now, building an organization where, it's selling about 500 memberships a year, personally, I can definitely put, a couple thousand memberships on the books personally that are staying. And when the result of that is a huge residual income. And so we talked about your personal sales volume. We said, okay, so if you go out at senior director and you make a membership sale, here's what you get paid, $195.41. That's a 1-year advance commission. So what happens the second year, the third year, the fourth year? Every year the membership stays on the books after that. Well, now you get paid that residual income. So let me help you understand how that residual income is calculated. Basically, to give you an example, let's say September of 2015, you went out and you wrote 100 personal memberships. And so what LegalShield's going to do is they're going to say, okay, they look at that block of business for that 1 month, September 2015. They're going to go to September of 2016, and then because we have a 45-day pre-cancel window, they're going to go 2 months after that. So they're going to go day 1 on month 15, and they're going to say, okay, how many of those 100 memberships are still on the books? And let's say 80 of them are still on the books after that, on that 15th month. So then they're going to say, okay, we're going to lock you in to your residual. So you can see there's 5 columns here, up to 55%, 56 to 65%, 66 to 75%, 76 to 85, and over 85. Of course, your goal is to definitely get to that over 85, but in the example I just gave you, 80 out of those 100 memberships are still in the books. That's great, and so you're going to get paid in that 4th column, 76 to 85. So if you're a senior director and you originally made that sale, it's 195. But then if you go here and you add the 2176, start at the bottom at associate, add the 436, the 436, the 436, the 652, and the 872 all the way to your level at senior director, you add all of those together and it comes out to $50.08. That will be your annual residual income on that membership for the lifetime of the membership. So they will lock in those 80 memberships now for the lifetime of those memberships. As long as they stay on the books, you're going to get paid on that level for a lifetime. So let me give you a couple examples, because I really want you to understand why it's so important that you're writing really good business. In this particular example, I'm going to step back a couple columns. We're going to look at the 2nd column. So let's say you didn't have 80 memberships on the books. Maybe 64 out of the 100 were on the books. So you're going to be in that 2nd column, and you can see at senior director, that's $25.04 per year on those memberships. However, if you were in that 4th column I was talking about, which is 76 to 85%, your income was $50.08 per year. Twice as much income on the residual side. Now again, when you think about that, you're looking at sometimes just 12 or 13% increase in your persistency, double the amount of income you earn on the residual side. The long-term effects of that is really, really big. I mean, think about it in terms of 1,000 memberships. 1,000 memberships active on the books, and you're earning $25 a year. That's $25,000 a year in residual. But if you have 1,000 memberships on the books and you're earning $50 a year, that's $50,000 a year in residual. Would you rather be getting paid $25,000 a year or $50,000 a year for the exact same effort that you put in? It took you the same amount of effort to sell those 100 memberships, but by going a little bit beyond, making sure you did a really great job selling the membership, making sure you taught usage, making sure you taught every area to that member, making sure you did a really good presentation, you didn't oversell the memberships, you really did a great job explaining how to use the benefits, you talked about member perks, you talked about how to get their ID Shield activated, you talked about all the right things so the member really understood the long-term value of the membership. You can literally double the amount of income you're going to make long-term. And that's one of the things I love to stress on residual income is that you are in control of your residual income, and the amount of money that you earn 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now really depends on the job that you're doing today. If you're at the 85% plus level, now you're at $62.60 per membership. You can see at 85 plus, the residuals here are phenomenal. I mean, at senior manager, you're getting over 10% residual. At executive director, almost 19% residual on that membership for life. Remember, your team overrides also work exactly the same way. So the way that they calculate your residual on your personal sales is exactly the way they calculate the residual on your overrides, because all those overrides you receive are 1-year advance commissions. And so if you want to be earning phenomenal residuals on your overrides, you also need to work with your team to make sure your team's persistency is really good so that you're earning a great percentage on those as well. So let's show an example here of really, I think this is one of the slides that Darcy was talking about that really blew people away when they saw the long-term residual income that can be earned. I talked about, we'll just leave it at senior director. We're talking at the annual residual commission at the 56 to 65%, $25 a year, $50 a year if you're at the 76 to 85%, $62.60 a year if you're at 85% plus. That means if you had 1,000 active memberships on the books, your potential annual residual on those memberships is between, it could be $25,000, it could be $50,000, it could be $62,000, depending on your persistency. What if you had 2,000 memberships on the books? In many cases, you can create a 6-figure residual income with those 2,000 personal memberships on the books. What if you had 4,000 personal memberships on the books? I mean, you can see if someone has 4,000 personal memberships that are active on the books and they're at the highest level of persistency, they're creating a serious long-term residual income. And so that's why volume is extremely important, but also persistency that goes along with that as well. The last part is also incentives. You know, LegalShield has some tremendous incentives that you can cash in on that we want to make sure that you're not leaving that money on the table. You know, one of those tremendous incentives is the BMW program, where you can actually go out and earn a BMW for 5 memberships on a monthly basis. So when you're talking about the BMW and the 5 memberships a month, you certainly don't want to leave that money on the table, because that's $6,000 a year, $500 a month towards your BMW. So I don't think any of you would call LegalShield and say, hey, don't send me that $6,000 every year. I don't need it. It's a great additional revenue stream, so make sure that you're really focused on Performance Club. Of course, the trips. We have some tremendous, trips. I know the Platinum Council is getting ready to head to Rome here in a week or two, but for everybody else as well, you have a tremendous opportunity to, go to places like the Moon Palace in Cancun next year, and Maui, and some of the tremendous places that we've been all over the world. So we have those incentive trips as well. So there's a lot of incentives built in that you can certainly take advantage of. In the B2B space, another great incentive is just the annual group sales incentive, where you can earn bonus money just for going out and doing production. You can see here level 1 is just 50 group sales in a year. It started January 1. It goes till December the 31st. So many of you have an opportunity still, if you're not at 50 group sales yet, to cash in on that bonus, $150 cash and $150 in bonus bucks. The next level is 150 group sales. Now you're talking $500 cash and $400 in bonus bucks. Level 3 is 250 group sales. Now you're talking $1,000 cash. Level 4 is $2,500 cash. Level 5, 1,000 group sales for the year, $5,000 cash. Level 6, 2,000 group sales for the year, $25,000 in cash. So for example, if you qualify with 500 group sales for the year, you will at some point in the year have been paid level 1. You will also have been paid level 2. You will also have been paid level 3, and then you'll get paid level 4. So as you hit each level, you're paid that month for that level, and then you're eligible to also get the next level as well. So with LegalShield, the opportunity is certainly here. We want to maximize the compensation plan. We want to produce, recruit, retain, diversify, but the biggest word, in my opinion, on all of that is retain. We want to produce a lot of memberships. We want to recruit an organization, an agency, and if you do that, now you can cash in on every area of the compensation plan. So I put a little example here together, kind of bringing this all together to said, okay, what's my short-term game plan with LegalShield? Well, to me, if I'm focused on the B2B space, I'm full-time, and that's what I'm focused on, then Special Forces should be your minimum for the year. I'm going to definitely have my 400 personal memberships for the year. That's only about 35 memberships a month. If you're out there working B2B every day, you can do that. At the senior director level, that's $195 a membership. You just created $78,000 in income. The other thing you want to do is you want to build an organization. You want to identify people while you're out there working B2B who can also be doing exactly what you're doing, working in the B2B space, calling on businesses, working in the group arena. And if you can build an organization that's doing 100 memberships a month, you now have the ability to earn an additional $42, as I was mentioning in my earlier example. And of course, this is just an example, but that's 100 memberships a month. That's 1,200 memberships a year. That could be potentially another $50,000 in override income. You now have your 6-figure ring, with LegalShield. However, if you look at this, you're thinking, well, something's not quite right, because if I'm doing that kind of volume, you're not a senior director. You're now qualified for executive director. So now you can take those personal sales, and instead of getting paid $195, you're now getting paid $237. So now you're getting paid $95,000 on your personal sales. You're getting paid your overrides. Your annual income is well over 6 figures. And on top of that, now you throw your car bonus on top of it. You throw the trips on top of it. You throw the B2B growth incentives that I went over on top of it. And then you throw all of the other promotions that LegalShield does throughout the year to help you maximize the compensation plan. And you can certainly earn a substantial income with LegalShield in the B2B area. And all of this is what you're getting this year. But what you're doing on the back end of your business, as a reminder, is you're also putting away that residual income that's going to pay you 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15, 20, 25 years from now, that income that you're working hard for right now, all of those numbers I showed you are what you're getting paid this year, but again, you're earning this residual for a long, long time to come. So that's why the compensation plan gets me so excited, because I know that regardless of what area you're focused on, you can certainly earn a tremendous income in your LegalShield business. And if you understand how all of the different areas work and you understand how they all work together, then you can certainly maximize every dollar in that compensation plan to make sure that all your hard work and effort out there is being properly rewarded. So with that, Darcy, I'm going to turn the call back over to you. I appreciate the opportunity to share with everybody this morning.